Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Nama Hare Hare, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya. Jai Mishtapada Paramahamsa Parivrijaka Acharya Ashtottara Isdivangdesa Vichanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, BBT Samsthapaka Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai Mishtapada Paramahamsa Parivrijaka Acharya Ashtottara Isdivangdesa Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Maharaj ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki, प्रेम से कौशी कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की, श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की, मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की, द्वारका अयोध्या धाम की, नवदीप मायापुर धाम की, श्री क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की, गंगा मैनमय की, भक्ति देवी तुलसी देवी की, समवेद भक्तवृंद की, हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, हरिभक्तवृंद की, जय निताय सत्यनाथ गौर प्रेमानंदे. All glories to the assembly devotees, all glories to the assembly devotees, all glories to the assembly devotees, all glories and glories to Guru and Shri Gauranga. Hare Krishna, welcome all of you again for this special class on Krishna's opulence. So we are celebrating Krishna Janmashtami, which is scheduled on Friday as well as on Saturday. So just try to make the invocation prayers before we start our program. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Seveya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtake Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Govindaya Namo Namaha Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So we are the second day of Krishna Janmashtami celebrations. So it's very glorious to discuss on the very special topic, the opulence of Krishna, which actually I am not really qualified. However, as a matter of following instructions and also for my own purification and also for the benefit of all the devotees assembled, we will try to discuss and make an attempt sincerely to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. The opulence of Lord Shri Krishna, and today I will be taking up the second aspect of the opulence, which is the fame. How Krishna is actually fame. Generally, we discuss on Krishna the two aspects if it comes to his personality. Nectar of Devotion explains 64 qualities of Krishna and 6 opulences of Krishna, by which we can understand how Krishna is the Supreme Person. So this Janmashtami, we really have a very profound opportunity to learn about the different opulences of the Lord. And of course, in our understanding of this particular feature of the opulence of the Lord, we will come to know more about Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, why we adore him, why we really worship him with devotion. And in fact, like by studying this opulence, we also know the magnanimity of the Supreme Person, which we also is very, very famous for us to understand and know also. So this fame given to Krishna is well known to all the devotees. Krishna is famous in everything actually. And to make myself clear, or generally to make clear how do we understand Krishna, we have two processes. One is through Shastras and the revealed scripture or authorized scriptures. We study the scriptures wherein we will try to understand more about Krishna and his opulence, his qualities, his divine pastimes, etc. And we will generally hear about Krishna from our Guru and the previous acharyas also. So it's very, very clear that like we have to adopt these two processes for us to understand more about Krishna. And in Ishopanishad, if you take for that example, it says the first invocation prayers, Om Purnamadam Purnamidam Purnat Purnat Purachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamema Vashishyate. So this is a very clear-cut evidence that like how Krishna is full, complete in all the opulence. Nobody can exceed his opulence in any way. I may call myself very rich. I may call myself very beautiful. I may call myself very, very strong. But with front of Krishna, all our characters, this opulence, what we carry is just negligible, which we have heard many, many pastimes of Lord Shri Krishna in the several aspects. And also, when we hear from our Guru or from our previous acharyas regarding the glories of the Supreme Person of Godhead, we understand through different steps of our bhakti also, the stages of our bhakti, which is, that is 9, starting from Shravanam, Kirtanam and ending with Prema. And any discussion for that matter, if we don't have the Shraddha or the, the faith, will not be able to do anything for that matter. Simple example is children, they know who their parents are. This is my mother, this is my father. We have that complete faith. And if you don't have faith, we can always ask, are you my father, are you my mother? They can question, definitely. But they have that full faith. The same faith we also should have in our practice of Krishna consciousness, regarding our scriptures, regarding the Shastras, regarding our Guru and our previous acharyas. Only then we can try to understand. It's very, very important also. But still, are we satisfied? Not many. Of course, partially the devotees will be satisfied by hearing about Krishna, but many others, they will question, definitely, is it correct? Is it not correct? There can be a question. And one such incident regarding this particular aspect, we will discuss at the end of the class, which will be narrated through a drama by our temple devotees also. Okay, so we'll just try to relate that one to this one. So we have heard this shloka many times, the opulence of Krishna. Aishwarasya samagrasya virasya ishasya shriyaha gnana vairagyasyo Chaiva Sannam Bhaga Iti Nana. So this is actually a revealed scripture. It's not that like somebody has fabricated. It's coming in Vishnu Purana 6.5.47, which translates that Krishna is full in wealth, full in strength, fame, beauty, knowledge and renunciation. So these 6 opulences define Krishna as the foremost person of both material as well as spiritual world. Nobody can surpass this. So Aishwarya means wealthy. Nobody can claim that like I am more wealthier than Krishna. He is having the more strength and he is yashas, famous, which we will try to discuss in this today's class. Shri, beauty, knowledge and renunciation also. So in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu also it is mentioned, Atha Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved gravyam indriyaha seyon mukhihi jivadav swayam eva spratyadaha. It says here, Lord Krishna's pastimes, name, fame, etc., whatever it is, cannot be understood by our material senses. We should have that spiritual knowledge to understand all these things, or else definitely we will not be able to understand even anything of Krishna's opulence in here. And that also we can understand provided we engage ourselves in the devotional services to Lord Shri Krishna and under the proper guidance also. Guidance also is required for us to develop this particular consciousness. Of course, in Brahma Samhita also, it is very clearly said, Brahmaji says, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochalena. That is like we have to have that Chakshusha, Premanjana Churita. This also is very, very important for us. To understand that Govinda, who is actually within us and within outside also. So one has to develop that particular transcendental loving attitude towards him, only then we will be able to understand. And now, considering the opulence of Lord Shri Krishna, he says these things both in Srimad Bhagavatam as well as in Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavatam 11th canto 1640, he says to Uddhava, Tejaha Shriya Kirtir Aishwaryam Ris Tyagaha Saubhagam Bhagaha Viryam Titiksha Vignanam Yatra Yatra Same Amikshataka. Whatever power, beauty, fame, opulence, humility, renunciation, mental pressure, fortune, strength, tolerance and spiritual knowledge, there may be in simply an expansion of my opulence. He does not say that it is not my opulence. He says it is just a small expansion of the innumerable opulences what he actually has. Prabhupada actually gives a very one sentence understanding in this particular aspect. Although the Lord stated in the previous verse that his opulences are innumerable, the Lord here gives a specific resume and demonstration of his opulences. He says it's just only partial. And coming back to Bhagavad Gita 10.41, which is the chapter entitled as Opulence of the Absolute. Yadyat vibhuti mat sattvam srimad urjitam evava tat tad eva gachatvam mama tejamsa sambhavam. He says to Arjuna, know that all opulent, beautiful and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. Spark. We have seen the fire burning actually every day in India, actually, not here, the gas. So the sparks, when it develop, it is very, very tiny compared to the small fire. Just imagine the complete cosmic manifestation, everything, just a spark of my splendor. And further in 10.42 also he told, Athava bahunaitetena kim gnatena tavarjuna vistabhyayam idam krishnam ekam shena sthito jagat. So here he further glorifies himself, but what need is there? What need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? He questions, what is the need of all this knowledge? I am explaining too many things for you. Is there any need? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support the entire universe. You can just imagine the magnanimity of Lord Shri Krishna. Of course, for our own understanding, he compares how I am better. But this comparison is purely on material basis, not on spiritual basis. He compares himself to Bhriga Rishi. Of the sages, I am Bhriga. Then he compares himself for the vibrations as the transcendental Omkara. It's all material practice. And of sacrifices, he compares himself as chanting of the holy names. And for immovable things, as Himalayas, like that, he defines himself as Prahalad Maharaj or time, the lion. Just compares himself. How a small material person can understand Krishna is more better than all these things, like Himalayas or whatever it is. And in one of the classes of Radhana Swami Maharaj, he really explains and informs us the magnanimity of the creation itself. For example, if you see two trees, the leaves of those two trees are not similar. It's variety. One will be a very thick leaf, one will be a thin leaf. One will be a long leaf, one will be a short leaf. One will be very green, one will be light green. So it is variety. He creates actually all these things. This is just two trees. See two mountains. Are they similar? No, they are not similar. There is variety again. Like that, Prabhupada, for example, he has wrote to us lot of translations and purports for us, our lesson. Yesterday, Vardhagopal Prabhu, he took the glories of Krishna as wealth. Now, if I take the same class today, will it be the same? No. There will be definitely changes. There is variety. Or for example, I take a class today on fame, and tomorrow again, Krishna Prabhu will ask me to take, okay, Prabhuji, go and take the same class in other temple. Will it be the same? No, again there is changes. Again there is a variety. It cannot be makki ka makki. There will be certain changes will be there. So these varieties are actually countless. What is created in this material world, leave the spiritual world. And what to speak of Krishna's opulences, is magnanimous. And we also know that like how Sankarshana, he glorifies Lord Shri Krishna. Every second he is glorifying Krishna from his thousands and thousands of mouth. But still it is not complete. He glorifies, but it is never ending. So that is Krishna actually. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he is actually teaching to Sanatana Prabhu also, he is telling, by chance, one may try to count the innumerable stars in the universe. We are heard about children must have studied this Milky Way and other things, which is full of stars. Maybe somebody can definitely count the number of stars. Or maybe somebody will be empowered to count the atoms. Okay? But in this material world, the opulences of Krishna is so much that even one cannot even measure the countless opulences of Krishna in the material world. Leave the spiritual world, which forms 3/4, 75% of the total creation. So that is the magnanimity again. So here we are just trying to understand how magnanimous is Lord Shri Krishna. And of course, it's by default, he is famous in everything. And for example, if I have to get attention of somebody else, I have to have some sort of qualities. For example, I come in what is the latest car, Prabhuji, we have in the world? Tesla. So I'll come in a very luxurious Tesla car in front of the temple, and I'll stand, park it there and come to the temple. All the devotees will come, they'll see that my car, and they'll come, whose is this car? When they know that like it is mine, what do they feel? Oh, he's very great. Correct? That's what they will tell actually. So we think of making ourselves big by telling that like I am wealthy, I am very powerful, I am more famous, and other things. But in front of Krishna, it's all meager. Just trying to compare. I don't have anything of such opulence at all. So Krishna also is very, very attractive because he has all these quantities in abundance and is complete. Om Purnamadam. That is, this opulence is so much that suppose Venkateswara Prabhu withdraws 1 lakh of dinars, not rupees, from his account, Krishna is always again full with that 1 lakh rupees. It will never go down. So that is Krishna. So Krishna's fame we study. In fact, like we can compare Krishna's fame as source of everything. Shastras give us lot of information how he is the source of everything. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karanakam. He is the source of everything. And he controls everything, even though like he has assigned demigods in the world, like Indra, Chandra, Brahma, Maheshwara, whatever it is. So he is the supreme controller. In that way, he is actually famous. And whom does everything belongs to? Supreme person. He is the supreme proprietor. See, in that way also we can understand how magnanimous Krishna is. There is no second thoughts about it. Nothing belongs to us. I may be telling that like myself, I have 3 buildings, 4 buildings, so much of crores of rupees, but it's all Krishna's. Krishna is the ultimate enjoyer also. Okay, we are trying to enjoy ourselves by saying that like I am comfortably situated, I have so much, so this is for my enjoyment. But ultimately, Krishna is the ultimate enjoyer, Bhuktaram Yajna Tapasam. So by default, whatever Krishna does, he becomes famous. There is no second thoughts about that one. So now just try to focus on, these are the positive aspects of Lord Shri Krishna. Now for example, Damodara Masa is just after 2 months, it's coming. So we glorify Krishna in innumerable ways also. Now the positive aspect of Krishna as glorious or famous, we just try to understand in very short actually. Now Krishna is also famous if he does wrong things also. So like in Damodar Lila is one of the best examples of Krishna where he is called as the butter thief, Makkan Chor. So we know the story how Krishna was trying to steal butter from all the houses of Vrindavana, Gokula. So even the by stealing the butter itself, he was famous in Gokula. And why he was stealing also is a question mark always for others. So our acharyas, what they say, in fact, Krishna wanted to give that enjoyment to the gopis, his darshan, his attractive feature, attractive, beautiful face. They were longing to see Krishna. So that's the reason Krishna was going to their house to steal the butter. And in doing so, he was trying to make a mess of everything. And gopis, even though like they know that like it was Krishna who has stolen, and when Krishna goes back from their home, they, on the pretext that like to make a complaint, they used to come to Mother Yashoda's house to see Krishna and to take that enjoyment of seeing Krishna. Even though he is basically a thief, he is famous. And ultimately we know how Mother Yashoda, like she was preparing butter and she takes care of the boiling milk, and then again Krishna makes a mess of everything, and again he distributes all the butter to the monkeys, and then like how Krishna was caught and tied by Mother Yashoda. Each and every act of Krishna in this particular Leela is made him famous actually. And in fact he liberated the Nalakavara and Manigriva also. So now it is, we know that Krishna is famous even as a thief also, but we have to learn something also from the stories also. Says here the feedback. See, Mother Yashoda, when she was actually tying Krishna, other gopis used to come and persuade. It's a small child, why are you tying him? But Mother Yashoda was fixed in her mind. Whatever feedback she was getting, she never used to listen. And her endeavor to tie Krishna, even though like the rope was becoming short, she was trying relentlessly. She was not worried about what others are telling, but focus on her goal of binding Krishna. Failure also. One thing we can just try to learn from this. How many attempts she made actually to bind Krishna? So many ropes she had to use, but every failure she was enthused to tie, bring in more and more ropes, collect more and more ropes, and bind Sri Krishna also. So she did not give up actually. The failure was ultimately success for her. Fatigue actually. This Damodar Leela happened from morning 6 o'clock till evening. So how much tired she should have been. In fact, like she was busy the previous day arranging for the Diwali, and she was churning the milk, butter also for Krishna, and she was totally tired. But did she leave not trying to bind Krishna? No. Whatever tiredness she had, she just overcame, and ultimately she made success. And one important lesson we can learn from this Damodar Leela also is, Acharya says Vaishnava etiquette. She was following a Vaishnava etiquette also, because that time we say that like each and every thing in Vrindavana or Gokula was considered as a devotee. It can be grasped, because in fact when we hear the Bhagavatam how Krishna used to run. The grass used to sleep for Krishna to walk or run on that, so that like his soft, tender feet is not harmed. So it was Mother Yashoda also, she treated that milk, the barley milk also, as a Vaishnava. Vaishnava is dedicated for serving the devotee. And now Mother Yashoda, she was following the Vaishnava etiquette not to leave the chance for that milk to serve Krishna. So she left Krishna down and she went to take care of the boiling milk. So it's the more you just try to churn, the more revelations you will actually get from any of the stories you take. Now the second story we can just try to discuss is regarding the Ranchor. In fact, like Jarasandha was attacking Krishna several times, but 17 times he was actually defeated by Krishna. But on the 18th time, Jarasandha bought full of army actually. Many Akshonis he bought, and Krishna knew that like it is very, very enormous army. And it was not difficult for him to defeat Jarasandha on the 18th time also. But what he did, he just ran away from the battlefield. To be called himself a Ranachor. Even though he just fled from the battlefield, he was glorified. And we have many, many temples. I don't know how many is there, Prabhuji? Temples, Ranchor temple is there in many parts of India. So he was famous in that also. Here Krishna runs away from the battlefield, whereas in Bhagavad Gita, he instructs Arjuna to fight, not to run away. That is the thing actually. So here also we can just try to learn a lot of messages are there. One thing is, it emphasizes the supremacy of the devotion over intellectual analysis. He analyzed what has to be done at that particular time. He had priority. What has to be done, what not has to be done. It's not like he just ran for fancy to call himself Ranchor. He had an objective to marry Rukmini. That's the reason he fled her. And it highlights Krishna as the protector, because his main motto was to protect Rukmini also. That was his motto. And showcases one's duty and intelligence also. He diligently and arranged everything so that like he take care of everything. And he was not worried that like, he is called as a ranachor. So Krishna's actions like his playful pastimes and strategic decisions, including leaving the battlefield, provide examples of leadership. He knew what has to be done, resilience. He know what to do, what not to do, and acceptance of the divine will. What has to be done has to be done. So these are the things actually. And then stealer of the clothes. So he was stealing the vastra of the small gopis also. So here, this happened in the river Yamuna when the gopis were bathing. Krishna used to steal the clothes. If somebody does that one, it is considered as a very, very bad act on a person. If my son or somebody else's son does this one, immediately parents will definitely take care of him very nicely. But here Krishna become famous even for that also. So this also teaches a lot of things also from this pastime also. It's not that like Krishna used to steal. He used to test the gopis of their surrendership, because the clothes what they were wearing was external. It was just indicating their ego, false ego. That was not what Krishna wanted. False ego was not. We had to come out from our false ego and totally surrender to him with devotion only. That's what he was trying to look into. So this story indicates this also. And now we can hear from the story of Draupadi also, when the game of dice, Pandavas they lost Draupadi. She was brought to the assembly, and when doing the disrobe, she was holding the cloth and pleading to all the leaders, Pandavas and other people, to protect. When nobody was protecting, she went to Krishna to protect. And Krishna did not listen to her. He was not in a hurry to save her also. Till the time, she just left that cloth also. Only then Krishna came, he protected. So that acceptance and surrendership is what is important from these stories. So it teaches us about the unconditional love and devotion actually. So there are a lot of stories like this. We can just go on. And in short, we can say that, like, for example, in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he was actually 90 years. But how was he looking? Nava Yavanamcha, as a young man. Then Krishna actually in the battlefield of Kurukshetra itself, he was trying to mesmerize the enemies. It was very easy for Pandavas and his army to kill the soldiers of Kaurava because they were glued to appreciating Krishna's beauty. And then it was easy for them to kill the Kauravas. So the example goes on and on and on. And now we'll just try to cut short the story of the pastime of drama which is going to be done today. It's the pastime of Bhrigumuni. Yesterday Vardhagopal partially he revealed the story, but the cause we'll try to study today. In fact, like I mentioned in the morning, that like we will not be satiated by reading the scriptures, shastras, or listening to the gurus. We want to have a practical test. This is what Bhrigumuni exactly he did actually. So Krishna book in chapter 89 describes regarding the super excellent power of Krishna. So earlier the sages they used to assemble and discuss. If you go to Manama, we also see a lot of people discussing. Correct? Huh? We discuss, no? The Arabs. Huh? Pardon? Prajalpas. No, if you see the Arabic outside the shops and other things, they discuss coffee shops. Yeah. So sages also they were discussing what were their interest to discuss on the Vedic subject matters and the philosophical topics. And in that one, in this particular meeting, there was a question raised. There are three predominating deities: Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu. Who is the greatest of all? They are all great sages, but still they are discussing this particular aspect. Who is the greatest? They don't want to look into the scriptures. Neither even Brahma must have told Ishvara Parama Krishna, but still they don't want to listen. They want to really test practically who is the supreme person. So then they appointed Bhrigumuni, who is the foremost sage actually, to test who is the best. They authorized him to just test. So the objective of test was the three deities of the controllers. They were controlling. One is Sattva-guna, one is Raja-guna, and other one is Tama-guna. Sattva-guna was represented by Vishnu, passion was by Brahma, and ignorance by Lord Shiva. The plan was to test the predominating deities who is possessing the good qualities, the best qualities. Yesterday, even Vardhakpal also tried to cover up that one. He told regarding Shiva that Shiva was in the mode of ignorance. He was looking after ignorance only. Not that he is ignorant. Okay, he is having goodness. Brahma also having goodness, but he is looking after passion. So, but it was a very challenging task for Bhrigumuni to decide how he has to test all these three gods. So first actually he went to Brahmaji. So what he did? He purposely did not pay his obeisances to Lord Brahma. Who is Lord Brahma to Bhrigumuni? Father. To his father, after a long time, he did not pay his obeisances. So naturally Brahma became angry. In fact, he was at the verge of cursing him. But even though he was in the mode of passion, he had that quality which was predominant in him, which made him control his anger, and he did not curse. That is the power which Vishnu or Krishna has given to all these demigods. Since of this particular act, he actually failed Bhrigumuni's test. This is number one. So number two, then he went to Lord Shiva. He wanted to test Shiva whether he is in the best mode of goodness. And who is Shiva? To Bhrigumuni, brother. Because both Shiva and Bhrigumuni are the sons of Brahma. And again, like he went to Kailash to see, and Shiva is actually with his Sati, Parvati. And when Shiva saw Bhrigumuni, he felt really happy. He just came jumping down to embrace Bhrigumuni. So when Bhrigumuni, he wanted to test, he just stopped Shiva. Just stop. I cannot embrace you because you are so dirty. Your body is full of ashes. I don't know from which ashes, which body ash you have actually applied yourself. I am a Brahmana. I am clean. How can you make me dirty? Lord Shiva became very, very, very angry. Just took his trident to kill Shiva. Now, immediately what happens? Parvati, she comes in between. She pleads Shiva not to do this act because Parvati had all the three qualities, Sattva-guna, Rajaguna and Tamaguna. Suddenly that Sattva-guna propped up. That made her to inform Shiva not to do this act actually. So now Shiva also he failed the test. Now comes the part of Vishnu now. So how Vishnu was tested, yesterday also we partially already heard, or what I nicely explained. And just one information is that Sati, who had all the three gunas, she is actually called as Trigunamayi. That we should try to remember. So Bhrigumuni went to Shvetadip, wherein Vishnu was lying on a very nice bed of flowers served by Lakshmi. So he just dashed in and just kicked Vishnu on his chest. Now he is just a visitor, that too in Vaikuntha, came suddenly, not even say hello, hello, and he is just kicking Vishnu, and that too wife is sitting next to her, next to him. So yesterday Vardhakumar Prabhu already told the aftermath stories. I'll just try to continue what happened after that. So Lakshmi cursed that Brahmanas should never always be poor. They should not be in a opulent way at all. But what did Shiva do, or Vishnu do? Vishnu actually, he did not bother that like he has kicked him, and he said that like, I'm extremely sorry for not inviting you, coming down and welcomed you to Vaikuntha. In fact, your presence has made this Vaikuntha pure. Your stress, because he knows that, like, in fact, like I earlier also told, he compared himself as Bhrigumuni. Of all the sages, he is Bhrigu. So you know the position of Bhrigu. So he just requested like, your presence has really purified Vaikuntha. I know that like your feet is very, very tender. Maybe like my chest is like a thunderbolt. Maybe you must have hurt. Let me just try to massage you. And he started massaging Bhrigu Muni also. After seeing this act of Vishnu, Bhrigu Muni was out. He could not digest what is happening actually, because he was struck with wonder, number one. Number two, the tears were flowing, because he knew very well that like who was Vishnu, what is his position. And he is actually, in spite of me kicking on the chest, he is just coming down and he is telling me sorry and he is honoring me. So this gratitude of Vishnu choked his voice, and Vishnu passed the test also. So he came back and informed all this story to the sages. Sages, they were very, very happy to understand that like Vishnu is the best of all the three, Brahma, Shiva and Vishnu. So this is this. So here we always tell how Kaya, Vacha, Manasa. Brahma was tested by Manasa. Vacha is Shiva. Kaya means from the bodily conception, Shiva, Vishnu was actually tested. So that's the reason like we have to have control on our Kaya, Vacha, Manasa. Only then we will be, we can elevate to pure consciousness. So Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva lost because their peace attitude was shattered actually. The slightest provocation, they lost their control and they wanted to curse, kill Bhrigu Muni. Whereas Vishnu did not do it. In fact, we can also understand the other way around also. Vishnu, living as Paramatma, he knows why Bhrigu Muni has come and he must have acted accordingly also. But still, he wanted to lead by example how a devotee or a Vaishnava has to be treated. So, like in principle, what all we have discussed today as famous, of all the 6 opulences, fame includes all the other 5 also. For example, if you take wealth, it's famous. Beauty, famous. What else? Strength, famous. Knowledge, famous. Renunciation, famous. It's not that like it is limited separately as famous for only one thing. All the other opulences includes fame for this one. Of course, knowledge, it can deal separately, wealth can lead separately, but fame is one aspect of Krishna wherein it includes all the other 5 opulences. Hare Krishna. So thank you so much for giving this opportunity. So hope I did my best to convey the message. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.